It's time for the Daily Stand Up Podcast presented by Agile Dad with your host, Lee Henson. Without any further ado, let's get started. I recently received let's try an email. I received an email from Mike Cohn, and I love receiving his emails because it's always insightful, it's always uplifting, it's always awesome. So I love to review these with you and share my thoughts. So here we go again. Let's try one more. We can learn so much about how people feel about something like teamwork just by asking questions. That's especially true when you ask kids. I can attest to that. I have 4 kids, and when you start talking to kids about teamwork, you get some pretty good answers. Let's see where he goes with it. I was traveling last month and ended up in line next to a father and his 8-year-old son. I made small talk with the dad to pass time in line and learned that the son had just traveled with his team to take part in a hockey tournament. Because I was curious, and a little because it seemed polite, I asked the boy, "So, how did it go? How did you do?" He said, "Not well. We got eliminated in the first round." I replied, "Yeah, but how did you do?" His reply to that question was strikingly different. He told me all about the goals he had scored and the assists he'd made. I learned a few things from this offhand exchange. That his first response was about his team, which means he's going to be a great agile team member someday. The second is no matter how great we do individually, it's hard to feel excited when the team doesn't perform at its best. This is probably one of the mind-blowing analogies most mind-blowing analogies I've read recently. This is really, really good content. What I can tell you is how many times have I gone into an organization and told them to stop focusing on individual performance. Now, recognize individuals who perform. That's one thing. We should do that all the time. Individuals need to know that they're appreciated and that their contributions are meaningful. But when you start talking about how a team works together and recognizing team success, even if one individual is a powerhouse and tries to pull the team through all the time, it does not necessarily mean that the team is going to be successful because one person can't support an entire team. I mean, I guess if you look at the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes, maybe. No, I'm kidding. What I'm trying to say is that even if you have the best player in the world, I don't know, LeBron James, not that he's the best, but a good example. He tried to build a superstar team around him. How many times now? 5, 6 times? And what wound up happening each time is they collapsed. This reminds me also of the Olympic basketball team, the Dream Team. The first round of that team, where they all knew each other and they were all friends and they all played well together and they had excellent coaching. That team was incredibly successful. But then years later, when they tried to repeat the same recipe, what they found was just plugging and playing star players did not make a difference, and the team lost embarrassingly to several other teams that were out there who never should have won the game. So my question for you is now, how do we get to the point where we can have individual contributors who are powerful, but that maybe instead of focusing so much on doing everything that they can, try to uplift others so that the team can work together? Let's see where Mike pulls this. He says, "It got me thinking, what would happen if someone asked one of your team members, 'How did last sprint go?' Would they automatically reflect on the team's performance or would they default to their own? It might be worthwhile to pose that question to your team. Questions are my favorite way to get team members thinking, because once they start thinking, they'll automatically start looking for ways to improve a situation or solve a problem." This is, once again, simple, sound advice. The one question that I love to ask, and I think everybody here knows what I'm about to say, is help me understand. So even if someone does come in and they have, let's just say, a jaded view of what happened with the team within the sprint or a jaded view of what direction things were going to go, you can always ask the question, "All right, team, well, help me understand what happened. How did we get to that point? What caused us to go in that direction? And how can we avoid that direction in the future? Or what helped us be successful? And what can we do to make sure we stay on that path?" And I just feel like there's so many times in organizations where people don't take the time to ask the right questions that they wind up in a situation where they don't get the answers that they're looking for because they're not asking the right questions. So for me, one of the biggest tools you can use and one of the biggest things you can do in your Agile team is to make sure whether you're a scrum master, a product owner, a stakeholder, that you're asking the right questions and that you're finding out information, because the only way your team is ever going to grow and improve is if you start asking questions. All right, that's going to do it for today. I kept it short and sweet. If you have a topic you want us to cover, make sure you reach out to us. Learn more at agiledad.com. We would love to hear from you. And as always, we encourage you to stay healthy, stay well, and stay agile, my friends. Until next time, do take care.